leopard skin trim is from the Democratic Republic of the Congo. He's a Lolenga mock. He's now 31 years old, and for the last 6 months he's been based in Grena in Denmark. He's normally, well, a light heavyweight, and he's stepping up against a man who is a genuine cruiserweight, and indeed was a fine amateur as a heavyweight.
David Haye is an exceptional talent, as we know, and he's still learning his trade. He's still got lots to learn, but, you know, I just can't help but get carried away with this kid. He's got such quick hands and he carries such power in the right hand.
When he landed that right hand, he glanced over Mock's shoulder just to somebody in the audience with a certain element of a disdain. There's a big smear of Vaseline on the cheek of David Haye. I think that's maybe come off the gloves of his opponent, and already you can see that Lolenga Mock is rather wary of the power of David Haye. He looks in great shape, just a couple of pounds over the cruiserweight limit. That was a lovely round the corner right hand, and Lolenga Mock, who has never been stopped in 28 professional contests, takes an 8 count in the opening round, and that without a single shadow of a doubt, and we're not halfway through it, is going to ensure a 10-8 round for David Haye, all in black from Berkshire. Had a first round stoppage last time out in Chesterfield, or Chesterfield's Greg Scott Briggs, I should say, in the York Hall, and he's going about Lolenga Mock with rare purpose.
David Haye's going to take some holding over the 6 and the 8 round distance. He really is. I don't know if there's a guy in the country right now who will beat him over that, and I would include in that the current British Cruiserweight champion.
Hey, those hands of his held characteristically low, but it's the speed of his punches and the power of his punches that really have disposed of all 6 opponents so far. Boxed 2 contests ago in the Playboy Mansion in Beverly Hills, and then came back to the York Hall in Bethnal Green. Doesn't care where he boxes or how often he boxes, and he says bring them all on. If he had to fight 10 times before Christmas, he would. Round the corner left from Haye, looking pretty impressive. Nasty clash of heads, and Mock got himself caught. Well, as they say in boxing, Lolenga Mock has certainly come to fight, or perhaps more accurately, Duke, he's come to brawl.
Well, he's physically very, very strong. He doesn't want this young kid to show him up. He doesn't want this young kid to out-jab him. There's only one way for Mock to win this fight, and that's to get in and rough David Haye up. Take him out of his stride, try and do something different, try and do something that none of his previous 6 opponents have done.
Well, Locke won his first 17 contests. Back at home, he's been backward and forward between Africa and the continent of Europe ever since, with limited success. And I think he must be wondering what sort of a guy they've given me tonight, with David Haye looking particularly impressive, and Adam Booth and Mick Williamson, who's doing the cuts in the corner, will be equally impressed with that opening 3 minutes from David Haye, not even bothering to sit down.
It would be interesting to see if David Haye could go a few rounds. That's what he needs right now, is to be able to learn his trade. You know, it would have been great if he could do the 8 rounds distance, but that's not what he's looking for.
There was a lovely sideways movement by David Haye, and he whipped that right hand in, kept on the pressure all the way through. Mock really starting to feel the power and staggered, even some of those shots from Haye were not altogether accurate. Nasty little clash of heads, and there was that right hand the second time, and that really clattered into the side of Mock, but he came straight back at David Haye, and Haye will have to be careful. He's obviously got the power, but he needs just to take his time.
Round 2.
So an opening round of 10-8 to David Haye, I'm quite sure, on the scorecard of referee Mark Green, against Lolenga Mock from the Democratic Republic of the Congo. His nickname is Lumumba Boy, I presume after the former Premier Patrice Lumumba.
It's nice to see that Haye has taken a definite step up in class in Mock. He's moved up to the 8 rounds distance now, which is good.
Good right hand from Mock was in there. This fella is pretty strong. He's not really a cruiserweight, he's more of a light heavy, and indeed he is boxed at super middle, but he has the face of a man who's taken a punch or 2 in his time. Oh, good right hand by David Haye. Mock took that flush.
Mock moves quite well on the retreat, as David Haye unleashed 2 or 3 punches there. 2 of them actually missed where Mock was concentrating on his defence, which shows that he's got a good head on him.
I still have certain reservations about the way David Haye carries that left hand of his. There was a right from Mock came over, Fortunately for Haye, it didn't land. Mock is coming forward all the time, and he's making Haye work on the retreat. Good footwork from Haye. This really is the sort of contest that Haye needs at this stage of his career, Duke.
I too would like to see David Haye get that left hand up a little bit higher, because as he starts to go through the rankings, the fighters are going to get that much better. They're going to read what he's doing with that left hand, and they too will tee off with their right hand and counter that punch. Mock's physically very strong, and he knows there's only one way to win this fight, and that's to get as close to David Haye as he can and just keep punching.
There's the right hand! How is he going to react to that? He's wobbling! He is wobbling! Well, is this a sensation in the making? David Haye is up. He says, I'm all right. I'm not convinced. His eyes are rolling in his head. And Lolenga Mock has threatened to dethrone the golden boy of British boxing. And Haye has to hold on. And Haye staggered, and Haye is in real trouble here. Mark Green has separated him. Haye's legs are still gone. This could be a sensational upset unless David Haye regains his composure.
But look, he's not recovered. He hasn't recovered.
At all.
He's hurt. Dan Mock's going for it.
20 seconds to go. David Haye will want this bell more than any other bell he's ever heard in his life. We said all the way through that low left hand could be his undoing. Mock caught him, and Haye, one hopes, will learn from that. Mock swings again with that vicious looking right hand. Haye has recovered, and I'm sure the corner will give him a roasting for that.
But look where he was carrying his left hand. He was begging to get hit with it. As you stated earlier, Jim, the left hand was far too low. Mock must have read what you've said, and he's just thrown his right hand, landed flush, hurt the kid desperately. The best thing that could have happened was that bell.
Well, I'll tell you, the pot of gold nearly disappeared for David Haye. It was a clipping little shot. It wobbled him. I think it caught him somewhere up around the temple. Let's have another look at that. Definitely caught him right on the temple, and he stood there, and then immediately he suddenly wobbled, and down he went. And the David Haye fan club on the far side of the ring could not believe it, and he was in all sorts of trouble, and this was the rather untidy bit of brawling and wrestling, and that allowed Haye to regain his composure. Now let's see what he does with that left hand of his. He's got to keep it up. Well, he hasn't. He's well, there's maybe 6 inches of a difference, and Mock will know, Duke, that if he hits Haye again with the right hand, this could be, well, a huge setback for Haye.
I don't know what David Haye's thinking right now, but he's not thinking about boxing. He's come out exactly in this round as he did the last round. Okay, we know that's his natural style, but when you've been hit and hurt, the first thing your corner say to you is hands up, chin down.
Good right hand from Haye. But remember, this fella in almost 30 contests has never been stopped. Good body shot once again by Haye.
Mock would have grown in confidence from landing that shot undoubtedly, and now he's looking to carry the fight to David Haye. David needs to get that left hand up and start popping home that jab.
I get the feeling Mock is just feinting with that left shoulder of his to draw Haye in, and he's going to try to unleash that right again. Haye'll have to be careful. Again, the left is ominously low. Haye's going to have to finish this, or maybe he'll decide to try to sit this one out. But either way, that will have given his confidence a huge dent.
Undoubtedly, David Haye has to get back to his boxing and box himself back into this fight. He was looking for the knockout and nearly got knocked out in the process.
Might not do him any harm. Wide swings now from Haye. I still don't think, Duke, that he's got his rhythm back even yet.
No, he hasn't got his rhythm back. I mean, there's nothing coming from him except hard punches. He's trying to knock this kid out with one shot, but his corner have told him, get back to your boxing, box your way into this fight. If you need to win on points, win on points. Stop looking for the knockout.
Haye certainly the faster and the stronger, but Mock at this stage is so determined. He threw the right again, he missed, and was very close to David Haye's whiskers.
That right hand he just threw there, just missed him, just marginally missed David Haye. David needs to get that left hand up higher.
Well, all the cruiserweights in Britain that David Haye has got in his sights will say, aha, there is a wee vulnerability there. Better round this by Haye. He's got back to his boxing.
Still carrying the left hand, he's still waiting to get tagged. He's still carrying that left hand far too low.
You have to learn that you can't knock everybody out straight away, and there are guys who will come back and hit you. Mock grimaces, good jab by David Haye into the face of this tough man from the Democratic Republic of the Congo, who's come here and has come very, very close to causing one of the biggest upsets in a British ring this year. Better from Haye, little 1-2 combination.
He certainly exposed a chink in David Haye's armour.
Tried it again, Mock. Haye was wise to it. Good left hook from Haye, that was better. Mock is not going to go down unless Haye can tag him with 3 or 4 good solid shots. Better run by Haye, and it was one that he really had to ease himself back into. That was a round just to say, I can stay in here.
Well, he needed to win that round, and he's done just that. He's got his confidence back.
Get the flow, get the rhythm with that, gap it, drop it, and then
Adam Booth nice and relaxed, and that's great corner work, not getting flustered at all despite the pressure his boxer was under. Good footwork by Haye. There was seriously evil intent behind that right hand. Well, there's the handsome grinning David Haye we know, but I'll tell you that handsome grin and a career was very nearly wiped off his face.
Second out, round 4.
Well, this is scheduled for 8 3-minute rounds. People were predicting that David Haye would get this man out of the way, as he has done with his previous 6 opponents. But Lolenga Mock has proved to be much, much tougher than the previous 6 put together.
The most impressive thing about Mock for me is that isn't his attacking boxing. He's quite good defensively. He's making it very hard for David Haye to nail him. He's not standing still for 1 minute. He slips and bobs and weaves quite well. It's a good learning fight so far for David Haye. If he's successful and gets to the end, he can go back and regroup. He would have learned more from this one fight than his 6 previous.
Mock, that battered, scarred face of his, just a study in concentration. Better by Haye. There's the right hand again, and again he staggers, not just as much. This is very naughty by Lolenga Mock. Now, he really did throw David Haye to the canvas. Haye glances cornerward towards Adam Booth, who's showing no signs of panic. There's a little nick, I think, underneath the left eye of David Haye. And there's that left of his held very low again, as that cup protector has risen up well above waist level. Mark Green's not too bothered about that.
Psychological ploy there from Mock. Threw David Haye to the floor, trying to show him how physically strong that he is. Haye's waiting too long now, needs to be popping that jab. He wants to make that kid eat the jab, double it up, treble it up, and then going behind the right hand.
Well, this is further than David Haye normally expects to go. We're coming up to the midway point. In fact, we're past the midway point in the 4th round. That's better by Haye. That jab of his getting into the face. He needs now to deliver the right if he can. Good body shot by Haye. Little clash of heads. Mock again going for that over-the-top right hand, which caused Haye all the problems in round 2. Well, you talk about a learning curve. I tell you, David Haye's had to learn quickly, and he nearly got caught again.
Every time the right hand comes over, I mean, look at Mock, look at the determination on his face. He wants this knockout, he wants this victory. David Haye's in trouble.
Mock is catching him. David, lovely uppercut from David Haye. That's the one that he caught Solis with. That's Cuban in the final of the World Championships. That was as good an uppercut as David Haye has thrown since Belfast in 2001. Mock is down for the 2nd time, and he stopped it. Well, I'm amazed at that. I'm amazed at that. Mark Green has stopped it. He's had a look at Lolenga Mock's eyes, and he stopped it in the 4th. And I have to say, I'm really, well, at a loss to understand why Lolenga Mock can't believe that it stopped. David Haye, to be very fair to the young fella, threw a lovely, lovely right uppercut, and the referee was right on the spot, and he must have seen something in the eyes of Lolenga Mock that prompted him to call it off. But the crowd here don't like it at all.
The knockdown was absolutely well timed. David Haye threw a beautiful shot, knocked Lolenga down. I'm not so sure he was in a position to continue. The referee looked into his eyes and he looked a bit groggy. However,
that was a stunning, stunning, stunning uppercut, and Mock was on his way down before Haye added the 2 or 3 little tip-tap right hands. But Mock, so determined, coming forward all the time, missed himself for the right hand, and he left himself perhaps for the first time well open, and that was a classic uppercut, and Haye didn't have to do much more, and from then on the referee decided that that was it, and amazingly he said no more.